And one of the people that we interviewed in New York was this lady named Alex Guarnaschelli. Anyone recognize her? Okay. So Alex Guarnaschelli, when she was a senior in college, was studying abroad, and her mom was a cookbook editor, so had all these connections in restaurants and whatnot. So when she was studying abroad, she was working as like a, some sort of like restaurant apprentice in this restaurant. And her mom came to her with an opportunity towards the end of this apprenticeship to go to Paris for 3 days to work an internship at one of the best restaurants in Paris. And so she's like, sweet, I'll do it. Flies to Paris, goes for day one. It's like an incredible restaurant, 5-star, the best in Paris, whatever. And does her internship the very first day. Goes home, she's crashing with a friend, goes for day 2, goes for day 3. At the end of the 3rd day, because it's a 3-day internship, she's like sitting there and she's like, all right, well, this is the end, I guess, whatever. And the chef comes up to her and it's like, hey, Alex, tomorrow what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to cut veal. We're going to, do whatever cooks do. I'm not that sure, but cut veal was one of them. And she's like, oh, okay, great, yeah, we'll totally learn that, yeah. And didn't have the heart to tell him that, like, hey, I have a flight home to America tomorrow. Like, I'm not going to be here, And so she goes home that night, and she's, like, thinking about it, like, as she's walking home. She's like, how am I going to break through this guy that I'm not going to be back? She's like, well, you know what if I just stayed? Like, and what if I just didn't go back to America and just, continued this internship and figured out where it was going to go? And so the next day, it's like time to either like go to her flight or go to this internship. She picks up the phone and she calls up her boyfriend. And she's like, I love you, but I'm not coming home. And I'm sorry, but this is the end. Breaks up with the boyfriend, calls up her mom. It's like, Mom, I love you, but I'm going to be in France for a while. And, cuts that off. And goes to the internship, for the 4th day, learns how to cut the lamb or whatever, whatever she does. And ends up going to that internship and that job, turns it into a job. She's there for 4 years at that restaurant, which I thought was pretty incredible. And so when you think about the different decisions that we have to make in life, there's like so many different little decisions that come up that like 20 years from now, 5 years from now, we can look back and those are like, you always hear the thing, like that quote that it's not, you'll look back on life and it's about the things that you regret or, I totally butchered that, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Certainly, Saturday. But yeah, it's like, there's so many different decisions and each one of those decisions really impacts where we ultimately end up. And so I think that's like one of the most powerful things that I found from the road and talking with people about their life journeys and adventures is that there's going to come a point where you're going to have to decide to give something up to really pursue something. And ultimately, like, your decision is just 2 roads. And it's up to you to really figure out which one you want to go down. One of them was really scary, one of them was a little more safe, but ultimately, a lot of people that we talked to took the scary road and worked out. So, a couple other quotes right here. The very first one is you're not risking very much if you know why you're risking it in the first place, which I think is, comes from a confidence level. It comes from that whole ownership stage of, knowing what you stand for, why you're doing it every day, and then coming to that point. Because then it's like, you're really not risking that much. It's like just another hurdle you have to overcome to continue that pursuit. Another one that I really liked was a lot of spreadsheets that got me to where I am today. That was from this record store executive who was like, I think he was working some like corporate job and decided to buy a record store. And just, there's something to calculating out stuff because a lot of it is financial. Like you think about risk, you think about the financial aspect to it. And you really have to run some numbers to see if it works for you. Because it's one thing to be like taking stupid risks, and then there's another side to taking like calculated risks. So that's a good quote. Another one is that the only thing that makes me an expert is that I've killed more plants than you. That came from this botanist that we interviewed, which I think is good because like there's so much fear of failure and fear of messing up, but with each failure, like just comes that experience level and that knowledge that hey, I've been here before, I can do this, whatever. And then the last one, I think this is like my favorite quote from the whole tour. We interviewed a Playboy Playmate, And she said that you're only young and good looking for so long, which I think there's really something to that. Like, you only have like a certain window of opportunity that you can go through, and it's up to you if you open that window and go through it. You know, I think that Alex Gronasheli's story of having that 3-day internship and coming to that 4th day and deciding to stay there and making it, you know, a 4-year internship basically, or a 4-year job, really worked out. And then the last one is hard work. And I think that hard work is, you know, it's pretty self-explanatory, and it's like, duh, you have to work hard. And that's what pretty much every single person you talk to tells you. But I think there's a real distinction between people who say they work hard and then people who really enjoy working hard. And I think the best distinction is when you ask someone and talk to them about their work, they're like, oh yeah, well I put in, you know, 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week, and, you know, kind of brag about how many hours they put in. And then the people that really enjoy their work, I think, really brag about the accomplishments that were a result of what happened by working hard. So hard work isn't so much quantitative as it is qualitative, I think, and I think there's something really to that. When we were on tour, the most popular book and material out there was The Secret, and has anyone seen it? Or like read it, knew about The Secret? So one of the people that we interviewed was talking about The Secret and whatnot, you know, because I think the question was like, what's the secret to success, guy? And he's like, well, you know, the most popular book out there is The Secret right now. And I think that as soon as we give up the notion that there is a secret, that's when we can really start pursuing success and making ourselves successful. And I can't tell you how much time people spend actually trying to find like a secret formula, a secret success to kind of give them like a shortcut to actually, you know, achieving something. And I think that it's pretty simple. It's like work hard, there is no secret, and focus and get stuff done. So that's one of the things. This is kind of a funny little reel right here. It's like almost in every interview when we ask someone like how they got to where they are, it's like, well, it's a combination of like talent, hustle, and just hard work. And so like this one, obviously, he's like, well, guys, you just got to work hard, you know. And this is a brownie producer. He owns brownies.com, like bought it in '92 or whatever, and sells like $40 million worth of brownies every year, which is a lot of brownie. But he actually spent like 3 years basically just like living off of brownies, trying to get this business up and off the ground. And it's like no substitute for hard work, and that's what he's telling us right there. A killer whale trainer, and he's like, I'm like, how do you become a killer whale trainer? And again, look at him, hands out. Look, guys, you just got to work hard. Like, there's no secret to success. You got to spend some time with walruses. You got to spend time with penguins, and then you move on to the killer whale. You know. And then we interviewed a fire chief, and she's the only woman fire chief like in Arizona or whatever. And again, talking to her about like what it takes to be a firefighter. And the firefighters have like a 4-year waiting list to just become a firefighter. And you know, a lot of that is like patience, working hard, making sure that everything happens. And yeah, so that's what she's telling us right there as well. So here's a couple other quotes. That's one of my favorites right there. The average overnight success takes 17 years, which I think there's something really true to that. Like if you look at athletes and when they start peaking at like, you know, 22 or whatever, it's because they've been playing football or, you know, basketball or baseball since they're like 3. And, you know, they've been perfecting that skill over time. And it's no slouch that they're, you know, awesome when they're like 20. Learn how to eat top ramen. That was from an animator. He drew characters like Boo and Scuttle and Disney and stuff like that. And he's like, look, you got to bridge all the hard work that you do through like, you know, living pretty frugally and eating Hot Pockets or eating ramen, you know. One great shot is what keeps you coming back. That's what a golf instructor told us. And I think that's really something that makes you, I guess, keep working hard. Because it's like that one shot on a golf course will get you to go play golf again. And the same thing happens in work. It's like one great thing might happen in a day or a week or a month, and that one great thing is what kind of gives you enough fuel to keep going on it. And then You can't work 50, 60, 80 hours if you don't care about the thing that you're trying to create. And that was from a venture capitalist that we interviewed that was like, look, you really have to be passionate about what you do to work hard. So those are the three things right there that we found. Ownership, risk, hard work. That's what I want to leave you with today, is when you look at, and this is kind of my challenge to you guys, you have like 4 months. When do you guys graduate? May 12th. So put on calendar. So you have literally like less than 4 months of your time left here at TCU. And my challenge basically to you is like take ownership on an idea that you have, whatever it is, whatever kind of dream, whatever kind of outlandish, crazy thing that you can think of. Take ownership on that, like buy a domain name, like do whatever it takes to start taking steps towards that action. And I think that's the best thing that I could like leave you with is like, hey, think about the craziest thing that you could ever imagine. Just like this, stupid like recreational vehicle tour thing that somehow worked out and it's got me in front of you guys here today. Like take ownership of that idea and know that it's going to take a risk and it's going to take some hard work. And but if you follow your passion, then I think that's pretty good advice that I can leave you with here today. So thank you guys very much. I really appreciate you guys having me out here.